It's 2003, and the monumental Lord of the Rings production is finally winding down. We're in the last months of pickups and reshoots for Return of the King, and the job that I moved to the other side of the world for is coming to an end. My initial 2-year contract had long since expired and been renewed so that we could finish what we started. But what next? Over the previous half-decade, our original team had transformed the tin-roof shack of Weta Workshop into a creative juggernaut. But now it had to be sustained. Would there be sufficient work on a new project that would keep me living in the country that I loved so much? Well, the answer was yes, but not just yes. For those of you who've watched my previous Monster Maker tales, you might recall that the first movie that I ever asked to be taken to was the '76 remake of King Kong. Now here I was, almost 30 years later, and it's revealed that the new Peter Jackson project will be a new version of King Kong. Weta didn't need to ask. Of course, I was in. After the smashing success of Lord of the Rings, Pete was basically given a blank check to do whatever project he wanted to do next. So, he returned to his passion project. Of course, this would happen to be King Kong. With his love for and inspiration from the original 1933 film, he had already begun developing a remake of his own for Universal in the mid-90s. With both 1998's Mighty Joe Young and Godzilla in production already, King Kong was paused just to wait and see how those two did. Yikes. Which is a great thing for me, because then Pete had to move immediately on to another project, which led to me being flown down here for the early stages of Lord of the Rings in 1998, which made me very happy.
Does that look fairly happy to you, Mum and Dad?
I feel pretty happy.
I limited my duties on Return of the King pickups to applying the Gothmog makeup that I designed and sculpted. The rest of my time was devoted to bringing a new vision of Skull Island to life. The previous design work and maquettes from the 90s were brought back out, and new work was begun. In the earliest stages, the design team would meet with Peter, and we would toss around ideas, with Pete encouraging our suggestions for action set pieces, like bits of the Kong and V-Rex fight. It was also around this time that Workshop brought in a new wave of digital concept designers. While the Rings design team had used computers from time to time, this was the beginning of the big switch to digital design. While Richard was nice enough to offer to train me in digital design, I was happy just to keep making monsters with my hands and actually sculpting for as long as I possibly could. If I wanted to peck on a computer, I could have stayed in Nashville and done that.